Alright, welcome back.
Welcome back. To boss battles.
Are we going into a boss battle?
I
We
believe
should be,
so.
right? Yeah. I believe we put it off last time because of either grinding or because it would have been too long
Way
or
too
something
long,
for the
I think.
end of the episode.
It would have been too long.
I understand.
You say that.
I understand. I understand perfectly now.
Perfect world.
Perfectly now. So, are we in the boss? Alright.
Yes.
Oh, it's not a cutscene boss, it's a generic I ate Pinocchio boss.
Well, his things are a lot of just generic bosses, but...
Well, in that case, I guess I'll bring up my favorite anime! Attack on Titties!
Tell me more about Attack on Titties!
So I've been watching it, and I'm like, maybe I'll do a recap of it every week. Cause, like, I've been watching it every week, and we happen to record the day after I watch it most of the time, so maybe that might be worth my time. And all I've come to the conclusion of is that the new season of Attack on Titan, I think I'm episode 2 into it, or maybe 3, is fucking insane.
I'm happy to hear that.
It's just absolute. But I gotta admit, I have never been more interested in what was happening in that show than how I've been this last season. Because it's just complete batshit crazy, like, statements and stuff. And, like, it's all haphazardly explained to you, and you're just like,
I love
but
it.
what does it mean?
I love
like,
it.
What is it? What is happening?
I was hearing that slightly. Somebody was telling me, like, yeah, I was reading something, and they were like, yeah, the new Attack on Titan is not the greatest season. And I'm like, okay.
They say that, but I disagree. So far, I think the new Attack on Titan season is the greatest season, although I'm only 2 episodes in. Because it's... The difference is that it's, like, interesting. Like, the last couple of seasons are like, yeah, there's stuff happening, but I don't care about any of it.
I love how genuine, like, the thing about it is, it's not garbage.
Yeah, no, it's like, I was expecting it to be garbage, and it's kind of vaguely entertaining, like... You know what I mean?
I do. I do.
Like we learned the backstories of the armor titan guy, and now he's all depressed and wants to kill himself and shit. And that's fucking that's relatable.
That's so dumb, but I love it.
that's just relatable. I guess.
I get
it. And we've just run into they're trying to be all coy about it and be like, "Who is this mysterious stranger man?" But he has Aaron's voice. It's very clearly Aaron's voice. So, like, it's not a secret at all.
I stumbled upon a clip of just of Attack on Titan, and it was just like how guys think they want anime characters, and it was the main female from Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
How they actually are, and it's just her giant muscle tone. And I'm just like, this is the greatest, stupidest thing.
Absolutely. There was
Darkness release.
Do you really need to darkness release to fucking kill that?
It doesn't. You have no choice in the matter.
Oh, beautiful.
If you get up to max darkness,
you just gotta take the darkness.
Yes, you just got a darkness.
But yeah, fucking, like, it's funny because we got fucking war veteran hot Aaron now. He's got a sexy long hair, but he's missing an eye and a leg.
Great. That sounds so dumb.
It is. Also, like, I think this is what keeps me entertained, though, about the show, is because it's like, the last season, right, Aaron was like, we're going to the mainland, we're gonna cross this ocean, and now, like, we're in a season in, and it's like, following the people who live on the mainland, and it has nothing to do with the main characters, but all of a sudden Aaron is now, like, fucking 5-10 years older, and living on this mainland, completely in disguise, with no one knowing, and I'm like, I have so many questions that need answers. This motherfucking anime better give them to me, or I'm gonna be pissed.
So, is the mainland have giant titans as well?
Yes, they're what the giant titans are originally from.
Ah.
Let me explain the lore of Attack on Titan, because it's not stupid at all.
He said with all the sarcasm he can muster.
Okay, so it's incredibly clever, because I think it's doing parallels to Germany in between the World Wars.
Okay. Now, do you
So,
think this is intended or not?
I don't know. I honestly am not sure, but there's too many parallels for me to not think it's intended. So I'd like to preference this beforehand with fuck Nazi Germany. And these views are not my own, but are what I believe the storyteller is going with, and I think he has some valid points, but that does not mean I fully agree with everything he's saying. With that said, I will now go over the lore of Attack on Titan. Because I think there's some interesting shit there to think about. I don't know how much of it is on purpose, but there's some interesting stuff there. So, first off, right, there was this...
I don't want to do that room.
There was the lead King Titanman, right?
Yes.
And they were like...
the lead King Titan man.
And they were like the king, and they could give their kingly powers of Titans to like 7 other people, right? And they're of a special bloodline, but I can't remember any of the bloodline names or race names in the show. So I'm just going to refer to them as the Titan race, because I don't remember any of them, and it's obnoxious to try and keep track of them.
It's also probably not too important.
It's extremely important. That's why it's obnoxious. So there's like a main race of Titan people, and they can give their Titan powers to other people in their main race of Titans. But only 7 people can be Titans. But they can also only be Titans for like 15 years or 20 years or some shit, and then they die.
Arbitrary.
Well, then they die. I think it's
okay.
to lower their Titan bullshit from being too OP.
So they don't have 100 million Titans?
Yes. And I guess if a Titan dies before passing it on to another Titan, then they like lose that Titan power forever, I guess.
Okay.
So, like, you have to be eaten by another stupid Titan. Like, to give the Titan power to someone else, that person has to be transformed into a dumb Titan, and then that dumb Titan has to eat the human form of the person who can be a Titan to absorb their powers, and then they become a smart Titan with that Titan's power. Got it?
Confused.
Sure, whatever. I'm confused. Sure, whatever. So... so they do that, right? They tighten up, and that's how they get Titan powers. It's not really important at the moment. All you really need to know is that the Titan people use their Titan powers to overthrow the army of people who were trying to overthrow them, and they became rulers of those people. They then essentially just, like, enslave those people.
Like you do.
After winning the war.
Was it the war to end all
They
wars?
make them like second-class citizens. Well, here's where I think it gets interesting, right? They make them like second-class citizens. But, after a certain point, those people rise up.
Rise up!
And defeat the main Titans. And the main Titan flees to an island. Because he gets sick of fighting all these wars. So he flees to an island with a couple other Titans. He builds himself a wall, and that's where the stupid wall comes in from the first season. And it's made out of Titan penises.
Like you do.
Like you do. And they're like the kings of the realm or whatever, and they live on an island now, and they're like, if anyone comes to our island, we'll fucking murder them! But if you leave us be, we're not gonna bother.
Like you do.
But they left, like, a bunch of their bloodline on that island, and now that bloodline is second-class citizens, and they're, like, taught to hate their own race and everything about themselves, and, like, kill anyone who betrays the mighty rulers of that planet. And I'm like, this
has some intense lore.
Yeah, and I'm like, this has, like, some weird, like, parallels of, like, what happened to Germany after World War I, where, like, they were ostracized by the entire rest of the European settlement and the United Nations of the time, which was garbage, by the way. Horribly ineffective United Nations.
Are you saying that making a scapegoat is never a good idea?
Yeah, where they put, like, all the blame on that one group of people, and it's, like, all their fault, and, like, they can never redeem themselves from that, and, like, they have to pay everyone back, so they're just indebted forever, which caused them to rebel and cause World War II. And I think there's a similar thing kind of going on right now in Attack on Titan, as the people who are being oppressed for so long start forming rebellions and shit to try and overthrow their, like, oppressors. And that's why I think a lot of the SJW types got really mad at Attack on Titan after Season 3 came out. And I think it's because they also realized there's some weird parallels between these two things, and I think they got upset because they were like, the oppressors can never become the oppressees, which is a fucking lie.
It happened many times in history.
It's happened a lot of times in history.
Like, there's an entire country, and I forget what... It's in Africa. And what happened was, the minority group was the ruling class for a while. And then the majority group was just like, why? So they basically murdered everybody.
Yeah,
From the minority group.
It happens a lot.
And people were like, that doesn't happen. And I'm like, literally, it happens all the time. Look at history.
All the time, yeah. Happened in the Caribbean too.
The Pirates of the Caribbean?
Not that Caribbean, but yes. But yeah, there's like a lot of shit like that. But I think that's like the end of where it ties into the you know, Germany. I don't think it ties in so much to World War II Germany as much as it ties more into World War I Germany.
What happened with that?
Yeah,
country?
what led to World War II Germany. But they haven't also got there yet. But it feels like they're leading towards it because the island people are now like, now that we know the truth, we're gonna go back to the mainland. And I'm like, oh no. So it feels like it's just gonna be like a never-ending cycle story where then they go back and they win and they free their people, but then they also enslave the people that have enslaved their people for the past like millennia. And I'm like, oh no, it's the cycle of violence storyline.
You beat me by 2 seconds in that comment.
So I think that's where they're going with it. I don't know. We're only fucking 2 episodes into the season. I could be totally off. But that kind of seems where it's going to me.
What the?
What the? Oh
that.
yeah, he's glitching out. Jesus.
I'm glad I was able to do it again without having to watch the video.
But yeah, fucking. So yeah, Attack on Titan is getting.
Attack on Tittles?
Attack on Tittles is getting interesting, I will say. I'm kind of curious where they're going with it. Now there's like a new brand of children that are being. That's the other thing is they use them as like child soldiers to fight their wars for them.
Great.
And if they rebel in any way, they're just like executed on the spot. And I'm like,
Great.
I'm like, this is a brutal show. And you really, people are like, man, Attack on Titan is so dark because people get eaten by titans. And I was like, no. But now we got, like, child soldiers and brainwashing races of people that hate themselves and be only for the people and betray their own kind and murder them for, you know, brownie points with the race that's enslaving you. And I'm like, now this is some dark shit! Now this is where Attack on Titan should have started! I would have been way more behind this show if that's where we started.
Well, you gotta remember, Chris, Attack on Titan is the darkest anime ever made.
Like, and even then, it's still not the darkest. I've seen some shit, but fucking, like, at least that would be
the internet
some
keeps
points.
telling me. That's the darkest anime ever made.
Oh yeah, dude, fucking, I've never seen any anime so incredibly gratuitous.
So edgy.
It's so edgy and violent.
Majesty.
Blood plus. Blood C. Fucking
Blood.
Berserk. Fucking Berserk. Anyone see Berserk? Raise of hands if you've seen Berserk. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen Berserk.
Literally, they kill off like a character almost all the time.
Dude, motherfucking, all I have to say when it comes to Berserk is rape horse, and people know immediately where the fuck I'm going with Berserk moments. Anyone remember Rape Horse? Anyone still have nightmares of Rape Horse?
Gotta love it.
I don't know who I don't know the name of the dude who made Berserk, but that dude is a fucking genius and a sociopath. Or a psychopath, I should say.
Good shit, man.
And then we never got its sequel.
Berserk
and then
Plus.
and then we did get its sequel, but it's horrible garbage 3D animation and it sucks. And I hate it.
Sometimes 3D animation can work.
Yeah,
Most
but not
of the
when
time,
you have
no.
a no-name director who's never directed anything before it. And has no idea how to, like, direct a shot. The problem is like, there's no impact in it. Like, at all. Like, the camera angles actually mitigate impact in moment-to-moment shots, and it sucks.
That's great.
Like, when you get, like, if you were, like, you're swinging a giant claymore, right, and you're about to hit
You
someone,
want to feel
wouldn't
it.
you, like, you know, when that claymore hits, wouldn't you want it to, like, time slows down, camera zooms in on the shot as it fucking rips through that dude at fucking, like... That's the other thing, is there's, like, no fucking blood and gore in that fucking anime. It's so censored. It's so bad to what this show should have been.
Darkness.
I take it you're Riku.
I take it you have a stupid-sounding voice.
Half correct.
Hmm.
Let us say that he is not the Ansem with which you are familiar. He
New
is
handsome.
and he is not handsome. Perhaps a nobody best convey.
He said the thing!
He did say the thing. I'm so proud of him.
Try again.
He's like,
Fuck you with your cryptic talk.
yeah, right.
Catching on now?
No.
yes.
No, absolutely never.
Between the light and the darkness.
You are a nobody too!
Common.
You are both a nobody, but also a Riku.
Like you said,
You are a rock, but not a rock.
there is darkness left inside of me. But so what? Darkness is my enemy. And
Riku,
so
Riku.
And my darkness sword is my friend.
what you want. Very good. I shall take you on.
What's his gimmick again?
Smacking dick.
Oh, he's the shield
ice.
fucker.
Yeah, he's a shield ice guy. Re-
Here you go.
Take this. But yeah, Attack on Titan has plot. One could also argue it has plot, armor.
Yeah.
But that's just
Like it?
that's just me. You know what's funny though? When season 1 came out, I made a statement that they don't kill off any important characters in Attack on Titan.
Darkness! Sorry.
And we're 4 seasons in now, or I'm 4 seasons in now, and my statement still stands. They have not killed off a single important character in Attack on Titan. And I know they'll be like, but they killed off the leader guy, and I'll be like, he was not actually important. He was the illusion of importance. He showed up and said important things every now and again, but he didn't do anything in the fucking show ever.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it fucking is. It's a great show. They don't kill off any characters, ever.
Yeah. You can have a great show that doesn't kill off characters. You just can't have a dark show and not kill off any important characters.
But it's dark, Chris. It's not dark, it's dark with quotations around it.
I think the problem is that I watched Kamida to Kill at the same time I watched season 1 or 2 of Attack on Titan,
Attack
and
on
I was
Titan.
just like, this is vastly superior, and it kills off important characters, making me actually give a shit about what's happening.
Like you do.
Any show that has the balls to kill off the secondary main character is the right show.
Dude, they have a show, and I forget what it's called, but they do one of those false protagonist things where your entire episode is like, oh, it's about this guy.
Oh, and then they kill him off.
fucking murder him in cold blood. Like, she stabs the guy and he falls off a cliff.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't
They
think of the
just
name
made it
of
as an anime.
and maybe not then.
She stabs him, and then she's the protagonist, but she's actually the villain. And I'm like, great.
That is pretty good. They had do you ever play Chrono Trigger?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
In Chrono Trigger, they like spoilers for a game that's 30 years old. It's not actually that old, but it's still like 20 years old.
something.
Yeah, it's like stupid long. And that game you play as Kronos until like you get to the midway point, and then they kill you. And it's like, man, they actually had the balls to kill off the main character, but it's cool because they replace you with a clone of Kronos, and it's just like, I guess that was ballsy. It might have just been kind of stupid and a waste of time, actually.
I forgot that that is what happened.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of makes it redeeming is that Kronos' clone occasionally has existential dread of being a clone. So that's the only thing that makes me be like, I guess it was kind of worth it.
Yeah, I guess. Oh. That's what I love when clone characters have, like, I'm a fucking clone, and they freak the fuck out.
That's what happens to Speedy. Fucking Green Arrow's sidekick.
Yes.
He finds out he's a clone, and he goes into, like, deep depression and becomes a drug addict and shit.
I haven't picked it up because I haven't looked too hard, but the season 3, which was...
of Young Justice?
Yes, it was pretty good. Wasn't the greatest thing ever made, but
Yeah.
it was pretty good.
Season 1 and 2 were pretty fucking baller.
Yeah, I have them on DVD. My buddy has a, I forget what the heck the streaming service is for DC, but she has one of those, and I've watched her using her login shit.
See, anyone who's like, anyone to me who's just like, I wish we got more Teen Titans. I'm always like, just watch Young Justice. It's literally Teen Titans, but for an older audience and kind of better, honestly, in a lot of cases. And it's just like, and then they're just like, no, I specifically want more seasons of Attack on Titan. And I'm just like, well, you're never gonna get it, so move the fuck on.
You want more seasons of Attack on Titan, Chris?
No. I think this is a good place to end the seasons, alright? Like, we've got all we need to know about the show. They've explained everything that needs explaining, except for all the things that don't need explaining.
They did everything they did, but I don't want any more.
Yeah. My only concern is that Season 4 is adding a couple new questions, and I swear to God if they don't answer them by the end of this season, I'm gonna be pissed.
They're not.
Fucking, I'm gonna rip that show a new one like I ripped Lost a new one when it ended.
Great show.
No, it was a fucking awful show. I'm so glad I never watched Lost. Because if I watched Lost, I would have been fucking furious with Lost.
That's my favorite joke I do to Chris. He's like, I hate Lost, and I go, that was a great show.
And then I immediately respond with, no, it was not.
It was not a good show. I just say that because I know it bothers you.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad I never watched it, because it was an interesting show, but like, when you have to fucking, you know, sit through, like, 5 seasons and your payoff is, oh, they died at some point.
They died before it even happened.
No, they didn't. They talked to the creator of the show, and the creator said there were people, and they lived on an island for a period of time. And that's as much as I'll explain. Which means they didn't all die on the island, like, in the plane crash, like people think they did. They all landed on that island, and the chunk of them lived to a certain point, and then they all died at a certain point, and it's never explained when, or why, or how, or when it started, or when it ended, and it's garbage.
That's the greatest show ever made.
Like, it'd be one thing if it was all a dream ending, because that would have fucking sucked. But at least it would have given a conclusive ending. But because the director was like, oh yeah, no, they did live on an island to a certain point before they all died. And it's like, what? Then when did it start and when did it end? What actually happened and what was in their heads? Who was alive and who wasn't? Were there ghosts interacting with the ones that were living? There's more questions than answers and I'm fucking furious. Garbage show. Worst show ever made. I was...
10 out of 10. Worst game.
10 out of 10. Worse than Attack on Titan.
10 out of 10. Too much water. Did you ever read that? There was
the IGN review.
The IGN thing about.
I bring it up all the time. It's a 7 point. I think it was a 7.8. Yeah, it was like 7.8 or something out of 10. Too much water for the fucking remake of the water Pokemon game. The one that takes place on islands. Like, not the one that takes place on islands, actually, but the original one that's had islands.
I think what's even worse, though? I think that actually, that comment was about Wind Waker.
What?
Too much water.
Too much water, the comment.
That's literally the premise of the game, guys.
It was originally about the Pokemon remake for,
Ruby.
Omega Sapphire and Alpha Ruby. No, Alpha...
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Yes. And they were just like... They essentially gave it like a 7.8 out of 10, and then just as the problems with it, one of the problems was too much water. And I'm like, the fuck were you expecting the game to have? It's a remake. It's like, I get it. The water section in that game is kinda like slow and boring because you have to like go underwater and then above water and then underwater and then above water and then explore the temple guards and then go underwater and then above the water, and it's like, I get, but also I don't get, because it's a remake, so you should have been well aware that it was gonna be the exact same thing as the first one.
Too much water.
And they did make the water better because they made it faster. You can get up and above water so much faster now. You don't need to have a Pokemon that knows dive to go under the fucking water now. You can just go over a black spot, hit the fucking A button, and be like, I want to dive here without having to have a Pokemon that knows dive.
Menu.
Yeah, it's
you still need a Pokemon with dive, but you don't need it in a...
Yeah.
You don't need to go into the menu to do it.
Yeah, it's like vastly superior. But, too much water.
Too much water.
Too much water. As they say.
Started replaying that again.
I get that. And we're going to call it here. We'll see you guys in the next